Hello everyone, happy Thursday. Bear with me while I just make sure everything's going. Good. Good. Alright, I'm going to play the intro video and then I'm going to try and get chat set up. Today I'm talking about spiritual piracy and how to survive in this mad, awful world and make it out alive and make it out with a whole soul. So, we'll play the whole intro. It's 5 minutes. You're welcome to come back or just tune out completely.
But when the show finally turned on for the first time to get the bugs worked out, it was finally in a position where we could turn it on. I had tears in my eyes. There was some problems, there were some bugs that needed to be worked out, little knick-knack, little stuff. But it didn't matter. I seen it. They came to life. For 25 years they've been sitting in a crate and I just breathed the first. But when the show finally turned on for the first, there was some problems, there were some bugs that needed to be worked out, little knick-knack, little stuff. But it didn't matter. I seen it. They came to life. For 25 years they've been sitting in a crate and I just breathed the first breath of life into them. And yet again, there's no words to describe it. I sat here and I cried like a child because my dream had just came true.
I never walk about after dark, it's my point of view. Cause someone could break your neck, coming up behind you, always coming, and you'd never have a clue. And now I look behind all the time, I will wait forever, always looking straight, thinking, counting all the hours you wait. See you on a dark night, see you on a dark night, see you on a dark night, see you on a dark night. And now another clue I would ask, if you could help me out. It's hard to understand, cause when you're running by yourself it's hard to find someone to hold your hand. No, it's gonna be tough for me, but I will wait for you. I need someone else to look into my eyes and tell me, girl, you know you gotta watch your health. To look into my eyes and tell me, la 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 la. To look into my eyes and tell me, la 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 la. La 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 la. To look into my eyes and tell me, la 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. a dark night. See you on a dark night. See you on a dark night. See you on a dark night.
Good Thursday to you. I see we got some kick dudes. I don't know if they stuck around, but I am not a part of the LaVey Church of Satan. I am not, I mean, I guess I may be a member of the Satanic Temple, but that doesn't mean I believe in Satan. And so let's make that clear. I don't worship Satan. I don't worship anyone. Okay? But I think we have chat working. I don't know. If we could actually get this going, that would be incredible, right? Good Thursday to you. Yar, mateys. Oh, hold on. Bugger up. What a mess. Get this guy off. Okay. Yar, matey. So the whole damn idea is... hold on. The idea is that given how shit the religions have been lately, that we need to create a modern religion, and we need a framework for a modern religion where people can choose to believe what they want to believe, and it's all voluntary, where there's no hierarchy, which also means there's no money scams or anything like that. There's no great authority or dogma, and in essence, which is the thing I'm trying not to say a bunch, we assume human consciousness is a miracle, and it's a miracle worth sanctifying. If it's worth sanctifying, that means that we have to treat each other with dignity and not trespass on each other's beliefs. That means if you believe something that I don't believe, that doesn't give me license to kill you. And that's the biggest issue right now. Like it's like I'm weeping. I wept on the Tuesday stream because I was talking about thermonuclear war and how the entire planet can be lit up like a match tip just because a bunch of people are feuding over old books and like a bunch of old dead guys and what the old dead guys said and all that crap. It doesn't make sense with how far we've gone to waste our entire world on some freaking arguments over ghosts and specters. Like the fact that it's like, which God, we'll never know. The whole point of God is you can't confirm if they're there or not. Yeah, Starfucker, right? But we must break out of that mutually exclusive thing of I'm right and you're wrong. Like I believe enough in my faith that it doesn't matter what you believe. So you could believe anything, you could say anything, you could even talk shit about my God. I'm so confident in whatever I believe, right? I'm just making it up, but I'm unshakable, right? Like that's how it should be. Now part of this, and this is the long plan, is religious freedom is one of the most protected things in America and in a lot of countries. And so part of having a pluralistic religion where anyone can believe anything you want and it's like an open circus tent for people to join in, part of that is that you have all of the spiritual practices and all of the technologies or techniques or rituals that are there. It's a thing of spiritual access. Back in the day, they like the priests were upset about translating the Bible from Latin into other languages because they thought, no, the peasants, we don't want the peasants to read the Bible. What if they, interpreted it and thought their own thoughts about what the Bible should be? And it's like, are you serious? Like, let them read the words. If you think that that's the word, let them read it. But there's a suspicion that people are too dumb, and so we need to teach them, right? Spiritual access. That also includes then entheogens, which, if you're not a psych nerd, is like psychedelic mushrooms, MDMA, LSD. I would say nitrous oxide is an entheogen because it is a transcendent kind of thing. even alcohol. You could use alcohol spiritually, but like any instrument, it could be misused or overused, and that's the big issue. It's a shame then we in 2024 as a society or global community, we haven't been able to explore techniques of using psychedelics in a above board fashion. We've had to do it like criminals, and there's like underground ecstasy therapy networks and things like that for people that don't want to spend $1 bajillion to get into a clinical trial or something. Ecstasy therapy is actually going to be one of the first psychedelics that's approved by the FDA, and that will open the gates for a lot of other studies. But the problem is, if I'm a veteran with PTSD, I might have to pay $3,000 to $6,000 for a MDMA therapy course, which is like maybe 1 or 2 MDMA sessions and then the integration therapy sessions afterwards, like maybe 4 more sessions. So 6 sessions total, and it's a $6,000, $3,000 charge. Maybe insurance pays half of it. But if you've grown up in the 90s, you're like an ecstasy tab, like that's like, $5 to $10 or something, right? The problem then is you have somebody going to a Skrillex concert on mushrooms with their friends, and they don't have a good time because a Skrillex concert isn't the right place to be doing mushrooms, right? Like you're going to get fucked up, and like it's not safe. It's very chaotic. Because it's been illegal, all of these people have had dangerous and negative experiences with the psychedelics, and they haven't been able to use them to feel some kind of like an integration or feel growth. Also, if something goes wrong, it's not safe for them to seek help. Like if I go to an ER and they see that I'm hopped up on acid, they might call the cops on me, right? Like it's not a safe situation. So there's all kinds of things like peer support groups. At Burning Man, they set up a tent called Zendo, where it's a place where you can sit with people that are tripping. And it's actually like an essential service at any of these outdoor music festivals. Is you need like a place that's air conditioned where someone can lay down and just kind of be quiet and chill. And you don't have to like give them therapy. You don't have to do anything. You just say like, are you okay? Are you comfortable? And you just let them rest and just kind of get through it. They could be on, like I actually helped a guy at Burning Man who he was so hopped up that he ran away from his friend group. He ditched his bicycle, his backpack, and all of his friends. And so all he had on was like a little like glittery thong, like a disco ball thong. And I sat with him from night until morning for like maybe 5 hours. And he's just like, I don't know, man, I think the cops were after me. Maybe I'm like, hey, they could be, they couldn't be, but you're okay here, you're safe. And I even walked him back to his friend group in the morning. So we waited till the sun rose and I walked him back to his friend group. And that's like a really human, heartful thing, right? In a lot of situations, if I'm like at home by myself, or if I'm, maybe if I'm with my friends and they have their own agenda and I'm having a psychedelic crisis, they may not be prepared to help me through that. And it's not even their fault. Like I can't blame them or feel bad about them failing me, because our community hasn't been prepared to even know how to help each other. And so with this religion, if it does take off, right, we would be able to say using psychedelics as part of our practices, and we would be able to explore these are the safe, reasonable ways to use entheogens or spiritual techniques without having a danger or anything like that. I can talk about the legal elements. Like the best way to implement psychedelics legally would be a licensing system where, and this is beyond religion now, but I think our religion, like right now there's ayahuasca churches. You could go to a Christian ayahuasca church and take a big potion and do like get totally messed up, but it's all in the frame of Christianity, right? And yeah, there's other regions where there's legal mushrooms and things like that. There's like a church in California that was making this indigo blue mushroom tincture, and they got busted, and the cops actually had to raid their safe. Like they took a metal, like a giant grinder to their safe, because part of the church is you donate to the church, and then as part of being a part of the church, they give you your blue tincture of like whatever the psilocybin thing is. So technically speaking, they weren't selling the mushrooms. It was a membership fee, and they're not selling property because it's something that they're sharing with all of the members. But it is kind of hairy, right? Like it's a little bit of a weird thing when you have like they had like what's it called? A vault or whatever, a safe, and it was like over $100,000 of cash. It's quite a bit for mushrooms, right? That's kind of like an industry at that point. But spiritual piracy. So this is the idea that we can take anything from the world and anything from history and use what we want. The omnist belief, it's kind of like agnosticism is you're not sure. Omnism is the belief that every religion has something of value or some perspective to contribute to a greater sense of, what it means to be incarnated and, all that. Excuse me. So it's a strange thing to think that we should limit ourselves. And let's say if I was a Christian, I would only learn from the traditions of Christian backgrounds. Like imagine if I was so concerned. This is like the people that think that Pokemon is satanic or yoga. Like, I can't meditate or do yoga. That's the devil. The water boy mom or whatever, football's the devil. Don't do that. There's no reason that you may, I guess there are some rituals or routines that maybe don't fit us. And that's the thing of not everything is for everyone. But my case is, if we're trying to survive, why would we refuse some of the techniques and some of the wisdom that's offered by other religions? And then with that comes discernment. Like you can't just eat everything and believe everything. You have to pick and choose. And that's a different discussion. Hold on. You have to pick and choose. But I was thinking about how we have a lot of the religions on the surface. I could kind of like show you, here are the top 5 religions, and here's the 5 things that each one says. That's pretty much accessible and available to everyone. You're not going to learn anything new from that. What I think would be really wonderful, and there's people like this is like the occult community, is if almost like archaeologists, you dug through history, you studied all of mythos, all of faith, all of the spiritual speculation, the suspense that we've had in trying to figure out this great enigma, and in a communal way. And this is the big part, rather than it being personal, like Carl Jung, the psychoanalyst turned spiritualist, he would do these crazy late night writing things, and he'd stay up and he'd go into these altered states. But he was in this weird oasis of his own psyche, and it's very like up your own ass and around the corner, that psychoanalytic style. He got far with that, but you can only get so far by yourself. And that's the great thing of the human colossus. So there's this theory of one of the new gods that is present in our world right now can be described as the human colossus, which is the accumulation of all human knowledge and all of human wisdom. At this point, the human colossus as it is, it's greater than any of us, and it's greater than time, because we've actually, through record keeping, persisted beyond time in many ways, right? Like I can write a book that you read 300 years later, maybe. Although honestly, nobody gives a damn, right? Like that. Don't worry about 300 years later. But the human colossus allows us to read Aristotle, translations of Greek today. And I have a experiential, conscious connection with the consciousness of, whoever like Edgar Allan Poe, right? And I'm up in his brain and doing like all that weird stuff with my sister or whatever he's into, right? It's actually pretty amazing. It's like a telepathy, right? So the human colossus now, it's humongous, but there's also so much that we neglect, and there's a lot that it's like a giant mountain. We can go back in and go back into history. We can review old theological teachings and principles and refine it into something else. There's nothing that would keep us from creating better religions. And I guess the limiting factor of the other religions is that they must hold to dogma. If they have a holy text and they have a grand story, then you can't really go that far from it, right? Like you either buy into the big story or you don't buy into the big story. And if you don't buy into the big story, then you're just kind of pretending, right? Like, why are you even wasting, I don't know. There's a lot of, status believers. Let me take a drink. Oh, Lord. The piracy part, so, it doesn't have to be like theft. It's more like borrowing. But I do think, like imagine like an omnivore, like you get to walk around the jungle and you get to pick fruit off the tree and eat what you want and, partake of what you wish if you were to create your own religion or engage with things like that. But piracy, there is some danger. And I don't want to undersell this of if you don't, like there are still people out there that think tribally and, you might appreciate their religion and appreciate the things that their religion teaches, but you may also not fully appreciate that their religion may set them up to say it's okay for them to hurt you. And it's so sad to set it up like to be so defensive or paranoid, but it's a real threat to be a heretic. It's a danger you must understand. And it's something that hopefully we can diminish. Like if we have more of a above board community where it's understood you can believe what you want, then it would be a safer world to believe what you want. And I feel like I'm talking to a child, right? Like I shouldn't have to explain that there should be a volunteerism and a consent with belief in faith. But there is a the faiths that have persisted and the faiths that have stuck around do it because they have some degree of virality. And by virality, I mean that they overwhelm the whatever the presiding thing may be. And once you encounter the faith and you encounter people that assert the faith on you, they don't try to like a honey pot, they don't try to attract you with what's beautiful about it. A lot of times they assert it. They say, if you don't do this, you're gonna go to hell, or this or that. And like they it's not a they speak with such conviction and definiteness that if you were to refuse what they're saying, it would be it would be very precarious. It's like the Black Lives Matter thing. Everyone's standing around your table and they say, Black Lives Matter, and they hold their fist up. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. And do you do it? Or do you maybe say, well, you know, I do care about black lives, but I don't believe in compelled speech. And then you get your ass beat, right? But there we are. So, you know, spiritual piracy, I don't think it's as dire as it looks, though. I think that there's a lot of promise because we can offer more than what's out there. Now, there are people that do things like Wicca. I even have, look at this. Do I have it ready? Oh, no, I don't. Well, forget it. Anyways, I even have things like the Enneagram, which it's not a, this is not a religion, right? But it has the dimensions of, it's kind of like the horoscope, right? It has dimensions of meaning making. See, like they even say it has roots in Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. This is a secular way of understanding the world, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have a spiritual basis, because here's the deal, like with anything spiritual or theological, you can't separate or sever the oh, come on thing. You can chop the wisdom out of theology, like the archetypes, which is what Enneagram really is, right? The peacemaker, reformer, helper, achiever, individualist, investigator, loyalist, enthusiast, challenger. These are mythological statuses. And so it's kind of neat, right? Like this is something that I've benefited from. Just the long and short of Enneagram, before I cut it out, is it focuses on your most commonly used strategy to deal with the world. And if you're an unhealthy person, that comes out in a really bad way. And if you're a healthy person, you're able to manage it. But it's kind of, it's a funny thing, because your strength, which is what you're naturally talented at, could be contorted into something really nasty, right? Like if you use your power for bad, then it'll turn bad. And so like, I think I'm a helper, I don't know. But as a helper, as an unhealthy two, that is me trying to help people that don't want help. And so like, I'm like, oh, do you want something? Here you go. I'm going to do this to you. And they're like, whoa, hey, just leave me alone. I was fine. Like, you don't have to mess with me or touch me or anything. And for other people, it's a similar fashion of they overexert their natural inclination. The healthy version of these things would be to manage it and moderate it. And that's the real thing I wanted to touch on, is moderation. When using spiritual techniques like eating from the tree or different fruits of different spiritual backgrounds, you know, you could really overdo it, right? Like Abraham, when he was holding a knife to his son's neck because God told him to kill his son, he maybe was overdoing it a bit. I don't know. That's up to debate, right? Moderation is you manage your depth and you don't go in too far where all of a sudden, like let's say if I'm burning all of the clothes in my house because I'm convinced that there's a ghost and it's the laundry ghost, and until I burn every single piece of clothing, it won't be gone, right? I don't know, maybe that's true, but if I'm actually going through with it, I have fully committed to that belief, and my depth is 100%, right? I'm pulling off my underwear, I'm throwing it into the garbage fire or whatever. It is a full depth thing, and it's a little bit dangerous, because with belief, and that's the thing, is you could be wrong. we're not talking about objective stuff. Like this is, a hot cup of tea or something. We're talking about things that are beyond confirmation, we can speculate about them, but it's not something that we may ever know. And so, like, let's say, oh, I believe I can fly. That's the stupid, I can fly. And then they jump, I'm Superman. And they jump off a roof or something. So manage your depth. And that goes with entheogens also, like psychedelics, is manage your dosage, your depth, your context. Be respectful of how powerful these things are. If it's a silly thing, but if you do like a ritual where you invite ghosts into your house, and even if you think you're like playing around like a Ouija board or whatever, or tarot cards, what if you were actually doing some real shit, right? Like, are you ready? If you do tarot cards, are you ready to like foretell some real shit and for some real shit to happen if it actually is real? You have to kind of manage it, right? And that's an interesting thing. To build on that, this thing, look, we'll pull this up again. Egregore. I'm trying not to go to Wikipedia as much as possible. So it's in like a lot of fiction lately, this thing of a thought form, and this is illegible. So is a group thought form. It can be created either intentionally or unintentionally and becomes an autonomous entity with the power of influence. A group with a common purpose, like a family, a club, a political party, a church, or a country, can create an egregore for better or worse, depending upon the thought or type of thought that created it. So reckon this. Oh dear. What do we got there? We got everything, right? Oh, there you go, everyone. Check it out. Check it out. I know it's going to be a little racy, but Jesus could be an egregore. I think that he's a real person, like historically, but even if he wasn't, enough people believe in Jesus that it doesn't matter if he was or wasn't real. He's real enough now because people believe in him. And as a collective thought form, Jesus is a presence on earth. And you can't deny it. If someone says that Jesus doesn't exist on earth, they're an idiot, because there's so many people that believe in him that he does exist. So it's like that, right? And it's weird. I got into this with freaking Harry Potter fans. I don't know if you've ever had a bad feud with Harry Potter fans, but then like these people start baking cookies and they're trying to hex you and they're like trying to do weird witch shit on you. And I know it's like if they do witchy shit, it doesn't matter, it doesn't affect me. But if you have a group of like 4 people and they're all doing a ritual to like try to screw someone over, you already have 4 people that are, doing weird shit. Like the ritual doesn't have to work. These 4 people are bad enough that they're like fuming or whatever, and maybe they'll never touch you, or maybe you'll go bald, or you'll never be able to get an erection again, or who knows what. But it's just like, if they believe it, like let's say if all your coworkers believe that you're cursed and that you'll never ever do okay, and so they don't want to have any association with you, then you won't do well at work. It becomes self-fulfilling in that people manifest their belief. And it's more than just if I step outside my door and I think I'm gonna have a blessed day, I'll have one. There is that kind of like expectation fulfillment. Like I'm more likely to recognize good if I'm prepared to recognize good. But the egregore, it's under your skin. Like if you've ever thought that you've been cursed, like it's like, I don't know why, but I just can't get this, or this just never works out. It's like this little bucket, and you slowly start to fill up over time. Maybe it never does work out. Maybe it never does work out. Maybe I am cursed. Maybe I am cursed. And then all of a sudden it's heavy as a rock, right? A boulder in your soul. You have to be careful with your depth of belief. And we go back to that with maybe believing in something like Jesus is an important thing, but believing in a God that will curse you for being gay and torture you for eternity isn't a good thing, right? Can we have it both ways? Or do I have to believe Jesus and then hate that I love, whatever, this is not a confession or anything. It's not that kind of stream. Let's see viewers. We got some stuff going on. Oh, what a day, Thursday. So, spiritual piracy. I have some passages I want to read, and then I'm not really sure what agenda I have, but let me take a brief drink. Okay. So, we got our good guy Thomas More. Let's get him up on the picture board, right? Thomas More. So go to this guy's website, thomasmore.com. There you go. He's a great guy. He's written all about the soul, and he studied theology for a long time. He's way ahead of me because he built his own religion, and he wrote this book in 2014. Oh dear, oh dear. A Religion of One's Own, a guide to creating personal spirituality in a secular world. This book survived a house fire. So, I like it like this. And he has two charming passages. One's about his dad, who is a Catholic and who enjoyed learning about other religions. And then another about negative. The negative, the absence of an answer rather than the presence of an answer. So, if you will allow me, I'll read. My father was a devout Catholic, in many ways liberal in his thinking and yet traditional in his practice. One year for Christmas, I gave him a book on Asian religions. He read it right away and told me it was one of the best and most important books he had read. Over the years, he read it several times and never tired telling me how much he appreciated it. His own Catholic piety increased as he moved closer to his 100th birthday, and yet his affection for that book never diminished. I figure that if my 100-year-old father, to whom I affectionately refer to as the philosopher plumber, could be a good Catholic and study Taoism seriously, anyone can. And that's I really like that, because it gives me hope that people that are fully aligned with a religion already and basically like set and devoted, I'm not here to unseat them or drag them out of the temple or anything, but it's encouraging that if you present ideas that are valuable and beliefs that maybe have like harmony and are nourishing of human spirit and all sorts of good things, there's a chance that they may still take on those and use them themselves, without that wariness, right? Like unlike Bobby Boucher or whatever, the water boy mom, you know, that's the devil. Don't you do yoga or play those Pokemon cards? Maybe these people can see, you know, wow, there's actually something here, and there's something that we can do that doesn't involve having spiritual warfare or persecution or all of that. So I very much like that. Now this next bit, where are we going? All right, that's not what it is. So positive and negative, present and absent. It's strange because with religion, you don't really see God, right? Like you may say, God, I had a vision of God, or God touched me, right? If you actually had a direct physical encounter with, you know, like this is like this is my keyboard, right? Or this is, you know, all this. That's not faith or religion, right? This is like objectivism. We're trying to confirm or deny if it exists or it doesn't. It's here, I swear. That's a positive because it's there. A negative, you know, this isn't empty, but if it is empty, a negative would be that there's nothing in here. And the absence, it's not like it's a bad thing, but it's negative. And so Thomas More gets into how he connects more in spirituality with that negative space rather than the positive, which is what dogma would have, right? Dogma says, this is it. Like, listen to me, kid. It's going to be this way. And this, you know, this is the story. You better believe it. There's something more enchanting and mystical about not knowing. So, I'm sure he explains it better than me. So, each spiritual tradition has certain key ideas to offer to your overall spiritual understanding. I turn to the Tao Te Ching to be reminded of what David Hinton translates as dark enigma. I know this phenomenon well in my life. I tire of hearing about the light from spiritual types because it seems to me that the great mystery is darker than it is bright. You don't encounter it only in the light of pure hope and bliss. At times, you have to approach the darkness and the puzzle of your life and go through torments of self-confrontation. You may also feel the finger of the divine at work at the onset of cancer or the loss of a child. He has 4 instructions from the Gospels. It's too much to get into. He goes into a lot of other things. I did like this. From the Greek, in the elaborate tales of the Greek gods and goddesses, of nymphs and strange animals, I learned how deep ordinary desires and fears reach and how they relate to each other. I watch how the spiritual interplays with the depths of the soul, how the religious and the psychological work on the same spectrum. Polytheism is not only a belief in many gods, but devoted attention to many often contradictory sacred moments in ordinary life. I really love, I loved reading Greek stories growing up because the gods and goddesses and all the spirits and demigods were personified, and it was their version of the Kardashians or, you know, celebrities, where it's like, oh, just like Hephaestus and his wife, they got caught, you know, cheating, and they were in a real bind, you know, and haha, that was so funny. Or Zeus turns a girl into a cow to cover up that he wanted, or he was banging her, and so Zeus's wife's punishment is to make the woman stay a cow forever. You know, okay. This is like the National Enquirer almost, but it's like ancient Greek times. And it's really fun. The Shinto, the Japanese sense of Shinto, I really like because there's like an animism of every object in the world having some kind of quality or degree of spirit within it. You could also think of it as representational. And so a figure, so something that's not a real thing could be a representational figure for a real thing. And then we can still use it. And this is like with, spiritual practice. We could still use it and have some effect without maybe the full thing. That's the fun thing of, with ritual, do we really have to sacrifice an animal anymore? Does it only count if you shed blood of a creature? Are you sure that we have to do that? Because if we could skip that part and just burn some incense and sing some songs or something, it would be a lot more fun, right? It'd be better for everyone if we didn't have to do like blood magic. But yeah, let's talk about some of the weird stuff out there. I mentioned blood magic. I think about that like all the blood feuders, people that use death as a resource, as a spiritual currency. There is a lot of blood magic that still happens, but I personally don't like it. I'm not into it. I don't like, self-harm or anything like that. And like the beautiful blood magic would be like reproductive stuff, right? Which would be creating humans and that kind of like soulful connection if it's not misused. I think there's something there, like that's the creation of DNA and new life, that kind of the vital life flow. So it's not like all blood magic is bad, but it's still a weird thing. Chaos magic stuff, it's a little strange, and a lot of it is kind of put on, but how is it any different than prayer, right? Like if I did a chaos magic ritual to try to, increase how well I'm doing on the sales floor at my job, is that going to really screw me up? Or, is there going to be like a devil at the crossroads that's asking for my soul later on because I did the magic ritual? Probably not. But if I think in the back of my head with some kind of belief, I'm like, man, that ritual I did this morning was so good and I'm going to kick ass today. Maybe it happens, right? It's the same thing again. Why as a secular or agnostic or non-religious person should you be deprived of the energy and engine that faith provides people? And that's the other thing that's sad is we have a depression and suicide epidemic right now. And I think a lot of it is the fault of the legacy religions. A lot of these people are maybe ejected. They've left it, or it wasn't compatible, or they weren't able to find a religion that fit them because they're restrictive, right? They're actually they're not adaptable to the modern time. So you have people that are orphans, and then they turn to alcohol, or they turn to consumerism, pornography, Netflix, anything, but they have their version of church. And while it helps them survive, it's missing that deeper element of community, and that one of my big issues is that everything is transactional now. So to be a part of the club, you have to buy a membership, or you need to buy the book, or you get the ticket to go to the show, or XYZ, and give and take. If faith is faith, it's not a matter of give and take or who gets what. It's of abundance, right? It's everywhere. It's inescapable. It's not that I have something and you don't have it. It's that it's there. where was I going with that? Oh, transactional. So then in that case, why should I ever ask you for money? Why should I ever ask anybody for money if it's a transactional, if it's a faith thing, right? Like, I'm not giving you an apple or a sandwich or a coin. I'm talking about ghosts and, you know, heavenly divine creators or afterlives or this or that. And to restrict it to money or restrict it to a special expert class of people like the in-group, we're the cool people and we're the only people that get to go into heaven and fuck you, right? That's like 19th century, right? Like, excuse me, we're in the 21st century, motherfuckers. And so get with the program and act like it's the 21st century, and don't be mutually exclusive with your religion. It's not hard, right? It makes me pissed off. So many people in charge of governments and states and militaries around the world believe in imaginary or superstitious figures. And they may be real, they may be right, but we will never know, they will never know. But they drive their lives based on the imaginary things that they believe are real. It's not all bad, right? Like a lot of people, it helps them conduct themselves and not offend on others, but the egregores are real, right? The spaghetti monster is out there and there's somebody that believes in it and is acting on it. So, take what you wish. I'm sure that there's some good wikis already. Like maybe this theology wiki is good. Let's check it out again real quick. Theology wiki, where are you? Theosophy wiki. See, maybe these are cool. I want to find allies. I think I'm going to try to appear as a guest and debate on some other, like if people have like a theology podcast or something, I might try to show up and, just talk things through. And the question I would ask if I went on a Christian podcast or some sort of like debate bro thing, the big question I would ask them is, how does your religion treat heretics? That's the issue. Which is just somebody who, nope, it's not even in there. Anyways, a heretic is somebody that chooses to believe otherwise. And so I really want to know if the way that your religion treats heretics is that it says that it's okay to kill me. I don't understand how that can be, how you balance that equation in the Western world, right? And maybe it's not in a Western or modern world or whatever it is, but if your belief system says that it's okay to kill a heretic, why have we not dealt with that yet? Why have we not progressed at this point and made some kind of greater sensibility, right? So I'm preaching to the choir, which is absolutely no one, I think. We got a few people, but they're not chatting. I will wrap it up. I wish everyone well, good safety and safe, passage in this wacky world. Saturday might be patchy. So let's do this. I'll try to make a video Sunday. I'll stream on Sunday evening if we can, and it might be fun. So yeah, let me play you out and we'll go on with our life.
Me and my friends are building a whole new place for us to live. And it's not a small shotgun shack on a hill, it's a new country. Me and my friends were making a whole new state that we can run. We got washing machines and drum machines and machine guns. Me and my friends are fixing a whole new land where you can hide, and it's just below the open arms of Jesus Christ. You can even say that we ain't here to stay, but as long as the kid pays and the old man says that this is the right way and the true way, we're gonna be here. We're gonna be here. Me and my friends were dropping new lines along the way, and pretty soon you're gonna have to buy a new map for your kids' school's sake. 'Cause it's the way things work today. Everyone can save the day, taking cars off the streets and selling starships on eBay. You can even say that we ain't here to stay, but as long as the king pays and the old man says that this is the right way and the true way, we're gonna be here. You can even say that we ain't here to stay, but as long as the kid pays and the old man says that this is the right way and the true way, we're gonna be here. You can even say that we ain't here to stay, but as long as the kid pays and the old man says that this is the right way and the true way, we're gonna be here. We're gonna be here. We're gonna be here.
Garotas.
Much love.